Welcome back, Red Spotters, to another show here on the Red Spotlight Podcast. This is going to be episode 223. I'm your host today, Alexis J. Soto, joined by the original Kyle Lira. Kyle, how are you doing on this wonderful coronavirus Friday?
Fuck you.
What? What's up with you?
I'm actually in a good mood.
Wow, that's actually pretty rare these days, from what I hear.
It is rare, especially because I just pulled a shift.
Oh boy,
at work, so it's a very rare thing. I'm happy. I got a microphone. I've been wanting this microphone for like 3 years now, and it's finally in my hands, an arm. It's an arm because I have a boom arm on my desk, and so that's where we are. It's the little things in life. It's the little things in life that like boost that to like I don't know what kind of degree, but here we are. I'm fine. Can't complain. People are after last week, I discovered that the human race is doomed. So I'm just wistfully accepting that fact and moving on with everything. Yeah. How are you?
It changes. As Loki said in Thor Ragnarok, it varies from moment to moment. If I'm being totally honest. I am doing well. I've only convinced myself that I've had coronavirus like 10 times in the last 2 days. So my mental health is doing very well. When I don't, actually. But
do you have a sore throat?
I have no symptoms.
Are you?
I literally have no symptoms.
Are you shitting water?
No.
Okay, you're good.
I have no symptoms. It's just I get paranoid and then I think that I have it. And then quite
you're a very naturally paranoid person.
I am, and then I'm also just kind of scared because the local county announced that people are going to go back to work pretty soon, and I'm just scared in general. Like I'm just scared about like my family.
It's gonna get worse before it gets any better.
Well, then why are people reopening? That's just like I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
No, it's due point for the course because that's humanity is always does that. It things have to get worse before it gets better. And it's like a slap in the face. It's like spanking your child, before any they need that kind of like disciplined slap in the face in order for them to realize that hey, maybe we should have been taking it slow all along. But no, people are gonna be stupid. People are gonna be idiots. So here we are. It's fine. We're fine. You're fine. It's fine. You're fine.
It's just that I'm not even so much worried for myself as I am for my family. And that's just what it comes to because I promise to the people listening, this isn't going to go past this comment here. But I am much more alarmed as of the date of this recording now than I was even a week ago of the complete disregard for human life. And I'm legitimately terrified for what's to come. And ultimately, I won't be responsible for it. So
Capitalism, baby.
I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all staying home, taking care of yourselves in this very trying time. Stay positive. And with that, we're going to go ahead and end COVID-19 talk for this episode and get into a more upbeat discussion. So today's episode, we have two big news stories that we'll say for the very end. There seems to be a Clone Wars esque conflict between AMC Theaters, Regal, and Universal Studios in particular, with the threats of bans happening left and right, which we'll get into, as well as the Academy Awards changing some rules that will allow streamed movies that debut on streaming platforms to actually be considered for the Academy Awards, because guess what? They did not look forward to having to award Best Picture to either Birds of Prey or Sonic the Hedgehog.
Dude, I would have loved to see and the winner for Best
Sonic
Supporting Actor, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik.
But why do you think they're changing this rule? Like Peter's amazing quote, "It took the apocalypse for the Academy to acknowledge streaming." Let's just be real about that. And I'm of the mind that it's a very temporary measure for this year, and it might get changed. So those are the news stories. But with how the podcast has been in recent weeks, we're going to go ahead and start with how we have been and what we've been consuming as far as media is concerned, and what we've been up to. So first and foremost, as Kyle mentioned, he has a brand new microphone. Kyle,
yes,
you got a new mic.
Yeah,
you said it was 3 years in the making.
3 years in the making, yeah. I've always wanted this mic because I like the look of it. It's a aluminum construction. Like everything is aluminum, so it's built to last. I had previously, because we use our equipment that we use to record these podcasts is very rudimentary,
basic as fuck.
Yeah, I have an $11 boom arm that I attach to my desk, and
same.
Yeah,
I have the same thing.
And for a while, I've been using a blue snowball that I found at a thrift shop of all places.
Again, same. Only you, you literally. And by the way, for Snowball is concerned, it was very, very good quality in terms of like what you got. You paid $6 for that thing.
$5.
$5. Excuse me. $5.
The dollar makes a difference.
It does. You paid $5. Yeah. And then I got the same thing, although I bought it as a brand new item as well as the Morenos did. So I mean, when you got it,
you got a Blue Yeti
recently. So
recently, yeah.
This is the week of my birth. My birthday happened this week as of this recording. So I decided, in honor of Parks and Recreation, to treat yourself 2020. And for my birthday, I bought myself a Blue Yeti USB microphone. So yay!
But, before I forget, did you see the reunion?
No.
Okay.
No. It would kill me. I can't. It would kill me.
I thought it was gonna be totally cringe.
But because it was all from home.
I know it was all from home, but like they inserted like different quirks about everything. Like this takes place in a Pawnee that has the coronavirus. The coronavirus has come to Pawnee, and the whole episode is just Leslie just checking on people. That's it.
That's actually not a bad concept for an episode. That sounds great.
And the whole episode took place within that.
Huh.
It's also really nice that they got 2 for the price of 1 with Nick Offerman, because he's related to Megan Mullally. And Megan,
okay.
Yeah. And Tammy too made an appearance. It's pretty funny. I thought it was gonna be bad.
Damn, man! Now you make me want to go back and watch it.
But it's really good. It ends with Little Sebastian. Goodbye, Little Sebastian. 5,000 candles in the wind. Whatever title of that song is.
I love that. I love that show. I really do.
And they make the best out of it, and they even have like little cameos from different characters that have appeared in the past. And it opens up with the cold open is with Paul Rudd as Bobby Newport. It's really good. I was actually really shocked of how good it was,
considering the limited production that they were faced with.
By the way, I guarantee different shows of this caliber will do the same, that have like been long since off the air. Like I could see within the next month, The Office doing the same.
Yeah. I can. That would be a seismic event.
Also, it was like because like it's a mockumentary with Parks and Recreation and all that stuff, and it worked because the character dynamic is so good without that. Right. So I don't know. I thought it was charming. A few moments you could see the blemishes, but that's due point for the course. But it's good. It's really good. Going back
to the
future. I don't know what I was going to say. Continue.
Going back to the microphones?
I don't know.
You literally just lost your thought.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We're having a good time.
It seems like we're having a good time, although I do worry about what just happened right now. You seemed like you had a thought, and then it just evaporated.
Well, if I lost the thought, it wasn't worth talking about. So let's go.
Well, yeah, I have been relatively on a stable routine. If by routine you mean I wake up, I watch crap, and then I go to sleep. Yeah, that's literally what it is. Again, I haven't. I've done myself. No. I've gone out of my way to not see any shows.
Every night.
I've just been mainly focused on movies and getting a lot of movies out of the way with. So, as listeners would know, for the last few weeks, I have been delving into the deep cuts of Steven Spielberg, both rewatching films that I've already seen, as well as watching some new ones. So, the complete list of films that I have seen in the last month, and this is categories of both for the first time as well as rewatch: Munich, War of the Worlds, AI, Artificial Intelligence, Minority Report.
Wait, you didn't see AI?
Okay, let me see. This is where it gets okay. Fucking Kyle, you threw me off. I'm kidding. It's like, okay.
Well, fuck you too.
All right. So these are the movies that I've recently rewatched, having already seen them previously. Every Indiana Jones movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Amistad, and War of the Worlds, and Catch Me If You Can, and Jurassic Park, and that's that. And then for the new Spielberg movies that I hadn't previously consumed, Duel, Sugarland Express, The Color Purple. There's so many I'm forgetting. AI, Minority Report, Munich. I feel I already forgot one in there. Adventures of Tintin. And I think that's where I'm at right now, just to be clear. So yeah. And then other movies that I've watched or rewatched was Arrival. I rewatched Arrival after watching Close Encounters, and those two films are an amazing double feature. Spielberg really loves that movie, by the way. Arrival by Denis Villeneuve. And then La La Land. I've been on a La La Land high after we did the commentary with Moreno. So, yeah. But for Spielberg, yeah, the new movies that I watched, which were a lot: Duel, Color Purple, AI, Minority Report, Tintin, and I forget. So many. So yeah, Kyle Lira had recommended AI, I think a long time ago, but we had a discussion about the whole situation with Kubrick and Spielberg, and so I've gone back and read far more research on that, and it is so fascinating. And then as far as the movie is concerned, I'm aware of the in my view, harsh criticism it received, because quite frankly, I love that movie. I think it's one of his best movies. Like, honestly, like, I think maybe even top 5 for me, for Spielberg. It's great.
It's, to me, like, this is like one of the most fascinating, like, behind the scenes things in film, is because, like, this is essentially a love letter.
It's a good story.
It's a love letter to his best friend, and I find that, like, really charming, and, like, I don't know, it feels more personal with him doing it like that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially because, like, the last 10 minutes, it was written by Kubrick himself. So I think that...
Let me just correct the record real quick. I also forgot to mention... there's so many movies I forgot to mention, too, that I watched for the first time. Always, which unfortunately was pretty abysmal. And then Empire of the Sun, which was terrific. So I just wanted to add those in. Continue.
Yeah. It's really fascinating.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
You're just tired, man. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have made you do a podcast tonight.
I'm just tired. No, I wanted to, because I wanted to test out my mic. It's all good. I'm selfishly doing it.
Okay.
But yeah, AI is really fascinating to me. I want to see Empire in the Sun.
It's one of the first big roles for Christian Bale. It features a child, Christian Bale, doing a great performance. It is dour, though. Like, a lot of these movies are actually pretty... Like, the overall theme that I am finding with many of the films, as far as the film criticism is concerned, is a lot of critics really love to punch Spielberg for being sentimental. And whenever something is like, there's like a strand of sentimentality in the movie, they point that out and they're like, oh, typical Spielberg. This notion, going back to AI, the notion that movie ended with a happy ending, it did in a way, but it kind of didn't at all. And it's been well documented.
But that moment...
Yes.
Yeah, but the thing is that if you look a little further, if you look a little closer, you'll find...
I was waiting. I was waiting for Benoit Blanc to come out there. I was waiting for... If you look a little... If we take a little... Now you got me doing it.
If you look a little closer, you'll find that the ending was written by Kubrick. So
exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's been well documented that the lighter aspects of the movie were there since Kubrick was working on it. And as far as the darker elements, Spielberg insists that he put in there himself. And it's like an interesting conundrum because, as you say, and as I've done in the research, Kubrick really did want Spielberg to do this movie for many, many years because he thought that he could make this movie more widely available and maybe accessible than his movies are, because Kubrick's films were not obviously what... Yeah.
They're more dour, more sinister, a little bit cynical.
Well, they are for sure, but
like,
they're not necessarily. That's not the palate of the general audience.
Yeah. So when you have like his more experimental films, and you know that's why like both, it's kind of like you and me. If we were ever like in the final like stage of our careers,
mm-hmm.
If we were filmmakers, I would be so longing to do something that, you know, you're particularly known for,
mm-hmm.
and you would want to do something particularly that I'm known for.
Right.
You know, and it's kind of like, because Kubrick, he always wanted to make a whimsical family film.
Right.
And Spielberg always wanted to do a dark think piece like Kubrick did. But unfortunately, because of the reputation the both have garnered, they weren't able to do that.
Right. And then you have the interesting conundrum that when Kubrick passes away, Spielberg then has this added component of including things in the film that were more characteristically Kubrick than they were Spielberg. So either way you cut it, it is a fascinating mishmash of Kubrick and Spielberg. Like, honestly, but I love it though. I love it. I think it's an amazing picture. And I mean, there's just some stunningly amazing performances. Like, I love Haley Joel Osment as David in this movie. Like, Spielberg has always been known for amazing child performances, but holy crap, it was just, I don't know, man. Like, this movie just gripped me from beginning to end. I thought it was spectacular. I really do.
Also, you have like little stuff like Jude Law in there. Chris Rock, of all people, is in the movie for a little quick tidbit.
Yeah.
It's just like a laundry list of like people, and it's it is a very interesting like bit of Spielberg's history and filmmaking that it's too rich of a history to pass up.
And then I also gained a newfound passion, I think, or love for the film Close Encounters. Because, and I'd said this to David, when I initially watched the film, I liked it, but it's not like I spent that much time thinking about the movie thereafter. And then I looked at it again a few weeks back, and I was floored. Absolutely floored by how great that movie is. And I don't know if it's because of the times that we're in, but there's something just absolutely magical about that ending and what that movie was trying to say, that I think we need to remind ourselves these days about, what, like, the best of what humanity can be and what can do. I'm not sure if it was a coincidence that this happened like weeks from UFOs being confirmed
by the U.S. government. Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, the government pretty much says, "Hey, aliens exist," and everybody's like, "Eh."
They're far more concerned with getting a haircut, and ordering pizza, it seems. So. That's how much things have cut. But there's this sequence in the movie where, oh my goodness, I want to make sure, but it's one of the main characters, the Frenchman. I'm going to look up his name because he was a big part. Francois.
Okay. I saw this movie a long time ago, but please be vague because I want to dive back into it.
Of course. But it's just a sequence where you have Francois Truffaut, who was a principal character in the movie, and he basically makes first contact with, I think, one of the aliens that we get the best look at. And the alien communicates with some kind of sign language, and he smiles, and they both smile at each other. And there was something so moving about that sequence that I just lost it because, I mean, that's just a beautiful thing to see. Two civilizations make first contact and it be a positive thing and it be a good thing, because so often do we see good things happen in the world today, and that's just not how it would go if it happened with the assholes that run this planet.
Oh no, that alien would have like been blown to smithereens.
It would have been nuked. It would have been nuked away. So yeah, I would definitely go back. By the way, this is important about Close Encounters. Have you seen, because there are apparently 3 versions of the movie. There's the original cut, there's the special edition, and then there's also like the director's cut of the movie.
I I think I saw the special edition because I remember somebody introducing it on AMC saying that this is the special edition of Close Encounters of the Third Kind when I watched it when I was, I don't know, 10. So, yeah, I want to go back into. There's like so many movies I need to go back and like watch because like I was just a cringy preteen who like didn't appreciate
preteen. Who called you a cringy preteen?
I'm calling myself a cringy preteen who didn't appreciate things. So I'm trying to like go back and like watch these movies that I never really appreciate or got.
You might want to finish Saving Private Ryan first. If you get a chance.
I only watched half of it, and you know it's so funny. Like my folks here at home, they started Saving Private Ryan and all that stuff, and I had to leave for work as soon as like to the part.
Oh my god!
As soon as the part where like I left off on.
It's as if the universe is like toying with you. You're never gonna finish this movie.
Probably.
One other thing, though, as far as these movies are concerned, the Indiana Jones movies. Oh my god, those movies, they get better with age. Like, I have to be honest with you. Maybe it's because I hadn't seen them in years, but crap, are they amazing movies. Are they fun as hell? And I mean all of them. Raiders, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, Crystal Skull less so, but still mostly fun. Mm-hmm. But I honestly, I know that Raiders to me, I think is clearly the best of them. But I have a soft spot for Temple of Doom.
Really? I thought you were going to go with Last Crusade.
No. I mean, but no, I think Last Crusade's still better, but like there's something about Temple of Doom, and particularly the gags, and then with Willie Scott and like the humor about that movie that just like appeals to me so much. Like I laugh every single time that Willie Scott like screams. I can't help but laugh. We're not sinking, we're crashing.
That moment was ruined for me when I saw it on Family Guy.
Oh no, they did that on Family Guy?
Yeah.
Oh shit, they ruin everything, don't they?
They do. But here's the thing though. Like Temple of Doom, it's such a like bewildering thing. Like I love the trilogy. I absolutely do. Raiders, Temple, Last Crusade, I absolutely adore. And then also I adore the first half of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's the second half that really loses me. That I'm like,
what's the part exactly where it starts to lose you? The quicksand scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, I'm all for this. Marion Ravenwood is back and all that stuff, and then it like loses me in the second half because it reeks of George's writing. Reeks of it. Like somebody took a shit on the script, and you're like, George is like, "Oops, I did I do that? I'm sorry." It reeks of George's writing, and it's schlocky and all that stuff. And normally Indiana Jones is a little bit more smarter than that. I'm gonna give the Indiana Jones, they're fun adventure films, but they're a little bit smarter than that. Like there's some integrity with the action that is going on. Like everything has a purpose, and the quicksand scene did not have a purpose. They could have easily just been on the run, and then you give the exposition dialogue that Shia LaBeouf is his son.
It's almost, I think you could say, I think to me the biggest issue with Crystal Skull was, for however much the actors tried, the magic between Marion and Indy just wasn't anywhere near what it was. And I can't tell if it's just because the years or George's writing or both.
I think it's George's writing particularly. He just can't write chemistry.
He can't write dialogue.
No.
He can't write a screenplay. I mean, he can do it. George has always been the best at ideas.
Yeah.
At concepts. But as far as like screenplays and dialogue, Lord, no. No.
Okay, like aliens and like religion, like based on like aliens and all that stuff, I think that's actually a good idea.
Mhm.
Like, because something that we never, because there have been societies in history that have worshipped aliens or stuff that looked like aliens, and I find that really fascinating that you could dive into and make it look and delve into something that Indiana Jones hasn't. Plus it's the 50s, you know, Roswell and all that stuff has happened, and you're gonna get that little intrigue. World of the Worlds was, you know, was taking off because they did a radio drama on it that shook the world. Everybody thought the world was ending. But it's really fascinating where it was on the times. And it could have been something good had it been like executed differently with the, you know, upon the writing, because Spielberg could, you know, direct the living shit out of a film, but it again, you could have like the best director, Denis Villeneuve, you know, you could have Alfonso Cuarón, you have the best director at the helm, but it ain't worth shit if your writing is shit.
Yeah. It's just a miracle, I think, you know, the Indiana Jones, the original trilogy, how good those movies look with what they had in those days, with no CGI, none of VFX in that regard anyway, were even in existence at that point. And they look outstanding. They're all on Netflix if you want to go see them, all 4 of the movies. I also saw the documentary, The Making of the Trilogy.
Okay. I want to get in your thoughts on that.
Loved it. I loved it. You and I are alike, in which we can never get enough of like behind the scenes crap of things that we love. So in this instance, oh my God, was it so? It's just honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like I'm weird because I get excited to watch documentary interviews, and I really, really loved it.
Okay, how do you feel about the fact that the person responsible for Indiana Jones's look and like the feel of the costumes throughout the entire trilogy gave birth to Max Landis?
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
At all. What I do want to say though
I
is
find it okay, a little side step. I find it weird, but I respect the living shit out of Deborah Nadoman so much. She is iconic as a she did the costuming for Indy, Ghostbusters, you know, you name it. And she's a frequent like if anybody has any like costuming stuff that they want to like dive into, she's pretty much your gal to go to get like things done. But yeah, the Raiders of the Lost Ark thing, it's like really, really interesting. How it died. Okay, it's pretty much like Empire of Dreams, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Similarly to that movie, as far as the making of the Indiana Jones films, one thing you can definitely come away with is how much fun these people are having on set, between Spielberg and Frank Marshall and Harrison Ford and all the cast. It really is magnetic, just how it just translated to the screen just so seamlessly. And that's why there's reasons for having a good set, you know, a good film production, because that can translate to good products, whereas horrible productions can lead to less than great movies.
Yeah.
I will say, as far as the action adventure genre is concerned, I really liked Tintin, for what that's worth. I wasn't sure. I let's see here. It's stop motion. not stop mo. Well, it's what's it called?
It's a motion capture.
Motion capture. That's correct. It's motion capture animation, and I don't know. I really like the characters, with Andy Serkis and Jamie Bell, and yeah, it was fun.
You know who plays the villain of the movie, right?
Yes, Daniel Craig. The only reason I knew that is because I looked it up and I'm like, oh shit. I'm sure Kyle knows this.
Yep, I do.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly so. Yeah. Anything else did you watch?
I think that's about it. Oh yeah, well, Jurassic Park, and as always, that's just a masterpiece.
It's a riot. It's nice. It's funny that that Newman from Seinfeld is in there.
Who?
Newman?
Oh, you mean Wayne Knight?
Wayne Knight, yeah, but his character name in Seinfeld is Newman.
I've never watched Seinfeld, Kyle.
Oh my god. It's okay. It's okay. It's a show about nothing. You know.
So yeah, that's about it.
I haven't done much watching. I mean, the only thing I've been really diving into really is Clone Wars. Which by the way, it's like sending all the nostalgic feels. And like the character dynamics between Rex, Maul, and Ahsoka is just icing on the cake, and it's nice to see like this thing finally shape up to be like what we heard whispers and rumors and all that stuff. There's another thing, because I love like film history and all that stuff that's really good. Prop culture on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. You have this aficionado, and he's talking with a bunch of different people who were involved with the movies and all that stuff, and who are like involved in iconic scenes. And you just get the digging people out of retirement to talk about certain movies that they've long since like been a part of. Like Rick Moranis, he's in the Honey I Shrunk the Kids episode, talking about different things. The kids from Narnia, minus Skander, is there. I mean, it's just like a wonderful thing. I don't know if you've seen the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Nope.
But it was really fascinating to dive into. The Pirates of the Caribbean episode threw me in for all the nostalgic feels, because there was this bar in St. Vincent where they filmed Port Royal in the first movie, and there's a bar that has cemented in the mast that you see Jack Sparrow first entering in. Like, you remember that mast, the first shot of Jack Sparrow when the boat is sinking and all this stuff. The mast is there. Some of the cannons and some of the buildings are still there from when they did the raid on Port Royal scene when the Black Pearl was doing everything like that. Little known fact, I thought it was a replica of the Aztec treasure that's in the Disneyland ride, but it's actually the real thing. I always thought that was a replica.
Huh.
But that's the real thing that they used to film it.
Spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah, but like it really fascinates the film history buff in me, and it's really nice. It's a really nice show. Saw the Parks and Rec thing. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've watched.
Wow, you've been really working, haven't you? Then
I've been working.
Kyle's an essential worker for those not aware of. So
I've been making my bones,
and then some. It seems like
enough so where I'm like, I could afford different things, and boy, I've been doing what Donna does on Parks and Recreation well, is that treat yourself, and I've and I've been doing that.
I agree, especially if you have the means to in this time of almost complete desperation. So yeah, I gotta ask you this question because it has a lot to do with what we're going to be talking about next.
Fire away.
Have you missed going to the movies?
I don't miss going to the movies. I miss the experience that I have of going with different people.
Okay.
It is nice. It is nice. Seeing a movie on the big screen with like, loud sound system and all that stuff, and getting the full spectrum of visual, audio, and whatever. But I think though it makes it more better is just like the audience you go see it with. I mean that could really make or break a film for you.
It can, and it has.
Like Cats. Like Cats, it'd be really nice to have.
It had no effect on you, dude. You were having the time of your life in that theater.
I know I was, but like imagine like my experience amplified after with a very animated audience, much akin to like Rocky Horror Picture Show and all that stuff.
Right.
But I think that is what that really adds. Like, for example, the last week has been like the anniversary for Avengers Endgame, and everybody.
Oh my god! Can you believe that?
And everybody's been posting their opening night videos of them reacting to different moments of the movie, and like when Cap gets the hammer, when Iron Man says, I am Iron Man, and snaps his fingers and saves the world, and it's just everybody reacting in such a way like that could really make or break a film for you. However, it's really nice to see a movie at home also, because you have the conveniences of home stuff, grabbing stuff at home, that you don't normally get at the movie theater. It's a lot cheaper too, which no fault of the movie theaters, because like they make little to no money on the ticket prices, so all of it is just concessions. I don't know. Do I miss the movie theaters itself, watching movies at the movie theater? No. But what I do miss is I miss reacting with the active audience.
Well, I just miss going out in general. I miss going out to a restaurant or going out to a movie with you guys, especially, to have that shared experience. And I'm very fortunate that we had the opportunity to do one of those at the very last minute with Onward before everything was closed down.
Yeah.
Not just, go to the movie, but then also have, a dinner and everything, which honestly, that feels like such an eternity ago when that happened.
When it was just like the beginning of last month.
Oh my God.
Not last month. We're
2 months ago.
Fucking
2 months.
May.
Yeah. I know. 2 months ago. At this point.
What a year.
I know.
It felt like March was going on forever, but as soon as like April hit, like it hit the ground running.
Well, I just assumed that we needed time to get adjusted into this new lifestyle, right? Because that March it felt like a year.
Well, some people are not tolerating it well.
No, they can go fuck themselves. I don't give a shit what they think. If they want to die, they go ahead and let them die.
Okay.
At that point, like fuck them. But as for
you heard it here
for
first.
The rest, yeah, you heard it here. Go to hell. And I hope you do.
Damn.
For those of us who abide by the law of nature and can see if we're gonna go over a cliff or not in front of us and stay inside and actually care about anybody but ourselves, and value and appreciate life, and hope that sooner than later we can resume to life as usual. It took a while to get used to this, but You're right. As soon as we got used to it, it just seems like it's kind of flying by.
I'm a natural homebody, so it was like no.
It seems most of us are. I had the same conversation with Nettie, where she was like, "Well, I prefer being at home anyway, so it's not really like there was much of an adjustment." And I wish, that's her words, I wish I had the time to like do nothing and watch movies, because even though she's only like working twice a week at her place of employment, she's like full-time online classes, which were moved online because of the COVID-19. She's had a horrendous number of issues because of it being online. Her professor even died in the middle of this fiasco, not from COVID-19. It was from cancer. She said that he was keeping it under wraps. But it was sad because that was a class that she had waited years to be in. And then when she...
To quote the person in question, it's a mess.
It's a mess. It really is. I mean, it's usually she says it's a mess or it is what it is. And it's just sad because that's just what the situation usually... honestly, all these things that I just said is just like business as usual for Nettie.
She says it is... She was saying it is like it is before Joe Pesci did.
Right. From, yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, I think all of us, the adjustment wasn't that difficult. There are times, I will admit, where I just kind of like want to leave. I like what I would do often if I was bored, I would contact one of you guys to see if you want to go, I don't know, to a Starbucks or something, or hang out, get a cup of coffee,
yeah,
stuff like that. So we haven't had that option, and so there's that. But mostly, it's fine.
We're fine.
Yeah, we're fine.
It's fine. How long?
I am nervous though for the coming month, I will say. But that's not.
But I told you before we recorded, it's gonna get worse before things get better, and that's usually the way nature works.
I agree 100%. That's what I've been saying the entire time. But I think we're at a point beyond that, though. This is not, the natural course of a pandemic. It's being inflated because people are choosing to decide. They're just deciding that, you know what, fuck it. We're just going to reopen the economy and we're going to go out and risk ourselves. And if we die, we die. And that attitude is going to result in far more deaths than it would have if just, nature took its course. So, but hey, a hole in the ozone layer closed this week, so that's something. And
it's gonna open right back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, with movie theaters, you may have noticed that there has been some news on this matter. And it all happened because of a little movie called Trolls World Tour.
It's so fucking hilarious. Of all movies to make or break the film industry and to break the theater industry's back, it's Trolls World Tour. Just listen to it. Trolls World Tour, a sequel
to a Trolls movie.
To Trolls, based on the little toys that came out in the 80s. Trolls is what is setting everybody in the theater industry fucking wild. Honestly, it's what they get.
Look, this entire thing, and the thing that we're discussing is that AMC Theaters as well as Regal Cinemas have announced that they are not going to show any movies from Universal Studios, specifically movies that they plan to release in theaters and then simultaneously drop on digital. They did that a few years back with a movie called Tower Heist, I believe, in which theaters pulled that movie because the studio was also making it available for some kind of a digital release. And so that's always been a serious point of contention for them. Universal made this announcement because they were seemingly pleased with the results of Trolls World Tour. Now, the movie made less than $100 million from the numbers that I saw based off mostly rentals. And they claimed that that was somehow much more impressive than the worldwide box office haul of the original Trolls.
Well, put it this way, because theater industries do get a cut of whatever box office, input they have. I think like if you put it in perspective, you got raw profit, really, because you don't have to share any of it.
The streamers, though, do get a little bit of a cut, that being Amazon, Fandango, Apple, but is not what the theater distribution is.
Yeah, because you don't, because it's one thing to distribute it, and you have to like ship out the files and send it out, and give passcodes, and it's just a complete mess.
So what happened is that Universal made more of a profit that they got to keep for themselves and only to themselves with Trolls World Tour than the entirety of the first Trolls film in when it was playing in theaters. And so because of that, they've made a decision that going forward, there may be certain films that have a simultaneous run in the theaters as well as on digital. And that triggered AMC, and they put out this very long statement saying that does not have any interest for us, and they're right, because that very much screws over the exhibitors. Because when you give people the option to just have it at home than having to get in a car and drive to a theater with all those concessions that they might pay for, it's clearly going to negatively impact the theaters, which is why they had such a very extreme reaction with the ultimatum of, we're not going to screen those movies ultimately, because if you're going to screw us at this point, we have to really just pull the trigger here. Regal joined them, basically saying the exact same thing, that there's just no interest for the exhibitors because it intentionally screws them over. Universal, by the way, has already had a rocky relationship, weirdly again, surrounding Trolls World Tour, because Universal didn't tell the theaters in advance that they were going to pull Trolls World Tour from a theatrical run and just drop it straight to digital instead of just waiting for the pandemic to end. And that pissed them off, mainly because they didn't alert them in any way whatsoever. And there was an interesting statement that was released by NATO, which is the National Theater Owners Association, which has the exact same acronym for the real NATO that most people are familiar with.
The military. Yeah.
And the statement is this. This is what they said. Without any knowledge of the facts or the common courtesy to inquire about those facts, Universal nonetheless made the reckless charge this evening that the company is, quote-unquote, disappointed by this seemingly coordinated attempt from AMC and NATO to confuse our position and our actions, quote-unquote. Unfortunately, Universal has a destructive tendency to both announce decisions affecting their exhibitor partners without actually consulting with those partners, and now of making unfounded accusations without consulting with their partners. Ultimately, this should be resolved, because when you look at it from at first glance, you may think, well, why would people like AMC and Regal be stupid enough to not play movies like Jurassic World or Furious 9 at their theaters when those are the movies that make them money? When you look at it the other way, if Regal and AMC don't play Jurassic World or Furious 9 or any other Universal movies, that all but neuters the potential box office dollars that would have been made from those movies. Because most movie theaters are either AMC or Regal. And if Cinemark joins along with Regal and AMC, that's over 60% of the theaters in the United States that won't be playing those movies. That's a lot of money lost.
But my friend, pettiness is a fickle friend to a lot of people, especially those within the Hollywood industry. It honestly, it's kind of like that scene in A Bug's Life when Hopper pointed out that, you know, if one stands up, they might all stand up. You know, what's stopping Disney from saying, you know, hey, you know, what this VOD thing did really good for Universal. Let's do that instead. You know, this new Star Wars movie that's coming out, or Marvel, or Black Widow coming out. Let's just throw it on VOD. Let's just have everybody rent it and like just see where this goes. I don't know what the numbers for Onward was, but I think a lot of people like got a hold of that a lot more easier.
They did, but they weren't anywhere near with what Trolls World Tour did. We shouldn't exaggerate, though, either the overall money that movie made. Because, you know, actual dollars doesn't perfectly translate into profit for a corporation like that. And we should also note that unlike any other movie studio, except Warner Brothers, because they're owned by Warner Media, Universal is owned by Comcast. And Comcast, as a media complex, is probably much more interested in phasing out movie theaters than any of the other movie studios. Disney, at this point, you're right, what's stopping them? Maybe themselves? I don't think they have any interest whatsoever in eliminating movie theaters, because we only have Trolls World Tour to go on. And it's a small potatoes animated movie. And sure, for the amount of money it cost to make that movie, it might have been profitable on VOD. But that's not to say that, let's say Avengers Endgame, for example, would have made much more money for the studio on VOD than it otherwise did in the cinema.
Do you think it would have?
No.
What kind of numbers do you think Avengers Endgame would have made on VOD?
I can't really tell you, and here's why. We don't have enough information or data to even make a guess out of that. I can't tell you.
Okay.
Like, nobody could have even guessed how much money, because you can't really compare the dollars on VOD with box office, again, because of all the different intricacies involved with the exhibitors as well as the streamers. It's not an apples to apples comparison. It's hard to say.
And it's weird because, like, we were anticipating, you know, a while back when Endgame came out that it was going to at least beat Titanic, but nothing was going to come close to Avatar. And lo and behold, it overcame Avatar numbers. So it's, again, always in motion, the force is, the future is.
Exactly.
Right. And I don't know. It's very... This new wave of experiencing movies, because like streaming, it just kickstarted. Like, it's still like a baby if you're looking at it like industry wise, and I think it's gonna take a while for it to be universally adored, much like physical media took a long time for the studios to be like, hey, this is a good thing, let's keep it going, you know, we make money by doing this, instead of like, oh, it's, you know, it's tarnishing, you know, the sanctity of the movie theater. It's the same thing, same basic principle that you got from that. Everybody was so concerned when Eisner and everybody said, hey, let's release Cinderella on home video, and everybody's like, Michael, are you fucking nuts? Let's not do that. That's gonna ruin our relationships with the movie theaters. We've been re-releasing Cinderella in the movie theaters for decades now. Why? What's changing your mind? This is gonna ruin the theater experience. No, it's not. It in fact made the company more money by doing that. Because at the time, if you look at it, the VHS was $90, just one unit, and they would a video rental place would buy, let's say, 5 to 10 copies of that. That's already, and because video rental places were more a dime a dozen than they are nowadays. So imagine like every video store buying all these VHSs for home rental and everything like that. That's a hell of a lot of money. So, and a lot of people are like, it wasn't until like the early 2000s where everybody's like, you know what, maybe home video is a good thing. So I think it's going to take a while for even movie theaters to be like, this is a horrible thing. This is, change isn't good. I don't see this going anywhere but down. I don't know. We'll see where history takes us in this thing. But I think it's so interesting. The first movie to kick off this whole thing is Trolls World Tour.
I just want to clarify, though. Do you have a side in this fight? Do you feel that someone's more morally right than the other? What do you think of that?
Here's the thing. I appreciate the movie theater because it is there. I don't know. It hits different than watching it at home for sure. But yet again, I don't know. I'm very gray in that area because I could see like good and bad out of both things, because the bad thing is that a lot of people are going to lose a lot of, if one after the other studios decide to do the same thing, you're going to see the death of the movie theater come quicker, come sooner than later, because a lot of people are predicting that the movie theaters are going to phase out someday.
Right. We've had that prediction for a while now. As to how the situation would resolve itself, I would imagine that they're going to have to come together and reconcile one way or the other, and they got a couple of months. I think, I pray, although you never know with all these reopening strategies going into under effect these days. I would hope that Comcast loses, because Comcast is a monstrous corporate force that people don't take into consideration there. And, of course, the motivation for them is to just make more money. And, of course, it is the job of a corporation to make more money. But at what cost? At what cost? Again, as far as the movie theaters are concerned, though, I do feel, though, they are justified in reacting this way because it hurts them. And it hurts them because that's exactly what Universal's goal here is, to keep more of the money for themselves. Mind you, many of these big movies, like Endgame or Furious 9, the studios already get to keep 90% of the profits from the first week. For however long the movie plays in theaters, it gets closer to 50-50, the overall run of a movie's place in the theater. But as far as the first week or 2 weeks where it makes most of its money, the studios do keep the bulk of that, if not mostly all of that. So, to me, it's pretty one-sided in who gets screwed. and in my view, unfairly screwed over. Of course, I do have an interest for the theatrical experience to exist, but you'll never find me on the side of a corporation just, phasing out something at the movie theaters just for for a couple extra pennies here and there.
I think this could shift the dynamic of what movie is released in theaters and what releases into VOD, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more smaller experimental films could go straight to VOD, and it'll make
Kyle,
money.
why do you call it VOD? You know it's called VOD.
I'm calling it VOD.
You're doing it just to get under me. Come on, it's VOD.
VOD. I wonder if a dad watches a VOD. It's called Dad VOD.
So that's where that's at. Any comment as far as to the Oscars changing their rules to allow basically Netflix movies to be considered for awards now?
They have no balls.
You want to expand on that thought?
Give Jim Carrey the Oscar as Dr. Robotnik. I want it so bad.
Well, that's precisely why that's not happening.
Best animated film, Trolls World Tour.
I don't know. Yeah.
An audience of 2. The whole friggin' Oscar ceremony is done via Zoom. It'd be amazing. It'd be a disaster, but it'd be amazing. Margot Robbie will finally get her Oscar as Harley Quinn. So I don't know. I'm viewing this as a win more than anything. If they, I wish they don't do the opposite. All joking aside, it's really interesting that it and you mentioned this before, and Peter's mentioned it before. It's funny how it takes an apocalypse for them to be like, oh yeah, Netflix, come and join the party, and be fair about it. Yeah. Although, come on. Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. How can you not pass that up? Alexis looks completely done with me right now.
No, I'm just done today because I'm tired. I didn't get enough sleep last night, so I'm just kind of ready to wrap it up.
Well, it's because you go to bed at 7 a.m.
And what's wrong with that?
It's bad for your body.
So, without any further ado, we'll go ahead and close it off today. You have any last thoughts, Kyle?
Short episode. Holy crap.
Yeah, this really didn't get the mileage I thought it would, but, I'm done with today. I do want to plug the old Fantasy Fair. A lot of great Clone Wars coverage happening there, including the upcoming series finale of the Clone Wars, so stick with it on that. We've got commentaries heading your way on movies like Casablanca and What We Do in the Shadows, as well as an exciting new series on Red Spotlight, going over the biggest films that made huge impressions on us in our earlier years. Mondays and Fridays for Fantasy Fair, Sundays and Thursdays for Red Spotlight, and many, many more. Kyle and I, of course, remind you guys to stay safe. We wish you well. We hope you like this podcast. You can listen to it anywhere you listen to podcasts: YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Wooshka, and keep it here under the spotlight. Thank you, Kyle. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.